In a world where societal expectations often dictate our behavior, many individuals, especially women, find themselves caught in the trap of people-pleasing. This deeply ingrained pattern stems from a desire to seek approval and avoid conflict at all costs. However, the consequences of constantly prioritizing others' needs over our own can be profound, leading to feelings of resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-identity. In this episode, we embark on a journey to explore the detrimental effects of people-pleasing and discover practical strategies to break free from this harmful pattern. Through personal stories, expert insights, and actionable advice, we uncover the root causes of people-pleasing behavior and empower women to reclaim their voice, set boundaries, and prioritize their own well-being. Join us as we delve into the complexities of people-pleasing and embark on a transformative journey towards self-discovery, authenticity, and empowerment. It's time to stop being a women pleaser and start living life on your own terms. Chapter 1: The Pressure to Please. People-pleasing often begins innocently enough. From a young age, many of us are conditioned to prioritize the needs and desires of others above our own. For women, in particular, societal expectations can amplify this pressure to please, reinforcing traditional gender roles that emphasize nurturing, caretaking, and self-sacrifice. From childhood, girls are taught to be accommodating, polite, and agreeable, rewarded for being nice and punished for asserting themselves or expressing dissent. This early conditioning lays the groundwork for a lifetime of people-pleasing behavior, as women internalize the message that their worth is tied to their ability to meet the needs of others. As we grow older, the pressure to please only intensifies. In our personal relationships, we may feel compelled to prioritize our partner's happiness over our own, sacrificing our needs, desires, and boundaries in the process. In the workplace, women often face additional challenges, navigating stereotypes that portray them as overly emotional, nurturing, or submissive. As a result, many women feel pressure to downplay their strengths, minimize their achievements, and avoid confrontation to avoid being labeled as difficult or bossy. The consequences of people-pleasing can be profound, affecting every aspect of our lives. We may find ourselves feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and resentful, trapped in a cycle of perpetual giving with little to show for it. Our relationships may suffer as we struggle to assert ourselves, communicate our needs, and set boundaries effectively. And over time, the toll of people-pleasing can erode our self-esteem, leaving us feeling disconnected from our own wants, desires, and values. But despite the challenges, there is hope. By recognizing the underlying causes of people-pleasing behavior and developing the skills to assert ourselves confidently and authentically, we can break free from the cycle of approval-seeking and reclaim our power. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore the root causes of people-pleasing, examine the impact it has on our lives, and discover practical strategies to overcome it. It's time to stop sacrificing our own happiness for the sake of others and start living life on our own terms. Chapter 2: Understanding the Roots of People-Pleasing. To overcome people-pleasing, it's essential to understand its origins and the underlying beliefs and behaviors that drive it. While the pressure to please can manifest differently for each individual, there are common themes and experiences that contribute to its development. One significant factor is early socialization. From a young age, girls are often socialized to prioritize the needs and feelings of others, while boys are encouraged to assert themselves and pursue their own desires. This gendered conditioning can create a dynamic where women feel obligated to accommodate others at the expense of their own well-being. Additionally, experiences of praise and validation for compliant behavior can reinforce people-pleasing tendencies. As children, many of us learn that being helpful, agreeable, and obedient earns us love, attention, and approval from caregivers and authority figures. Over time, we internalize the belief that our worth is contingent upon meeting the expectations of others, leading us to prioritize their needs over our own. Family dynamics also play a crucial role in shaping our patterns of behavior. In households where conflict avoidance is the norm or where emotional needs are not adequately met, children may learn to suppress their own feelings and desires in favor of maintaining harmony or avoiding confrontation. This learned behavior can carry over into adulthood, leading to difficulty asserting boundaries and expressing needs in relationships. Cultural and societal expectations further reinforce the pressure to please. Women are often bombarded with messages that emphasize the importance of being polite, accommodating, and nurturing, while asserting oneself or prioritizing personal needs is viewed as selfish or unfeminine. These societal norms can create a powerful internal conflict as women navigate competing demands to be both assertive and accommodating. By examining the roots of people-pleasing behavior, we can begin to challenge the beliefs and assumptions that drive it. By recognizing the influence of socialization, family dynamics, and cultural expectations, we can gain insight into our own patterns of behavior and begin to cultivate greater self-awareness and agency. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore strategies for overcoming people-pleasing and reclaiming our authenticity and autonomy. Chapter 3: Recognizing the Impact of People-Pleasing. The insidious nature of people-pleasing goes beyond merely accommodating others' needs. It can have profound effects on our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. In this chapter, we delve into the various ways in which people-pleasing can impact our lives, relationships, and sense of self. One of the most immediate consequences of people-pleasing is the erosion of our boundaries. When we prioritize others' needs and desires over our own, we neglect to establish and maintain healthy boundaries, leading to feelings of resentment, frustration, and overwhelm. Without clear boundaries, we may find ourselves overextending and depleting our resources, both emotionally and physically. People-pleasing can also take a toll on our self-esteem and self-worth. Constantly seeking validation and approval from others can create a sense of inadequacy and insecurity, as our sense of worth becomes contingent upon external validation. This reliance on others' opinions can lead to a perpetual cycle of seeking validation and never feeling truly satisfied with ourselves. Furthermore, the habit of people-pleasing can hinder our ability to form authentic and fulfilling relationships. When we prioritize others' needs at the expense of our own, we may attract individuals who take advantage of our willingness to accommodate them, leading to one-sided or codependent dynamics. Additionally, our inability to assert boundaries and communicate our needs effectively can result in misunderstandings, conflict, and resentment in our relationships. On a deeper level, people-pleasing can prevent us from living authentically and pursuing our own goals and aspirations. By constantly prioritizing others' desires, we may neglect our own dreams and passions, leading to feelings of regret and unfulfillment. Over time, this can create a profound sense of disconnection from ourselves and our true desires. Finally, the stress and anxiety associated with people-pleasing can have significant implications for our physical health. Chronic stress has been linked to a variety of health problems, including cardiovascular disease, immune dysfunction, and digestive disorders. By constantly striving to meet others' expectations and suppress our own needs, we subject ourselves to a constant state of tension and anxiety, which can take a toll on our bodies over time. In summary, people-pleasing is far more than a mere inconvenience. It's a pervasive pattern of behavior that can undermine our well-being, relationships, and sense of self. By recognizing the profound impact of people-pleasing, we can begin to take steps to reclaim our autonomy, assert our boundaries, and live authentically. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore strategies for breaking free from the grip of people-pleasing and cultivating greater self-awareness and self-compassion. Chapter 4: Breaking Free from the People-Pleasing Cycle. Breaking free from the people-pleasing cycle requires a fundamental shift in mindset and behavior. In this chapter, we explore practical strategies for overcoming the patterns of people-pleasing and reclaiming our autonomy and authenticity. The first step in breaking free from people-pleasing is to cultivate self-awareness. This involves recognizing the patterns and triggers that drive our people-pleasing behavior, as well as acknowledging the impact it has on our lives and well-being. By becoming more attuned to our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we can begin to identify the underlying beliefs and fears that drive our need for approval and validation from others. Once we've developed greater self-awareness, the next step is to challenge and reframe our limiting beliefs. Many people-pleasers hold deep-seated beliefs about their worthiness and value as individuals, which often stem from early experiences and conditioning. By questioning these beliefs and challenging the validity of our self-critical thoughts, we can begin to cultivate a more compassionate and empowering mindset. Another crucial aspect of breaking free from people-pleasing is learning to assert boundaries effectively. This involves communicating our needs, preferences, and limits in a clear and assertive manner, while also respecting the boundaries of others. Setting boundaries allows us to protect our time, energy, and emotional well-being, while also fostering healthier and more authentic relationships. In addition to asserting boundaries, it's essential to practice self-care and prioritize our own needs and well-being. This may involve setting aside time for rest, relaxation, and activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. By nurturing ourselves and replenishing our energy reserves, we can better withstand the pressures and demands of everyday life without resorting to people-pleasing as a coping mechanism. Another effective strategy for breaking free from people-pleasing is to practice assertive communication. This involves expressing our thoughts, feelings, and opinions openly and honestly, while also listening actively to the perspectives of others. By communicating assertively, we can establish mutual respect and understanding in our relationships, while also advocating for our own needs and preferences. Finally, it's important to cultivate self-compassion and cultivate a sense of self-worth independent of external validation. This involves treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially when we make mistakes or face setbacks. By practicing self-compassion, we can develop greater resilience and inner strength, which can help us navigate the challenges of breaking free from people-pleasing. In summary, breaking free from the people-pleasing cycle requires a multifaceted approach that involves cultivating self-awareness, challenging limiting beliefs, asserting boundaries, practicing self-care, communicating assertively, and cultivating self-compassion. By embracing these strategies, we can begin to reclaim our autonomy, authenticity, and sense of self-worth, and live more fulfilling and empowered lives. Chapter 5: Embracing Authenticity. In the journey to stop being a women pleaser, embracing authenticity is paramount. Authenticity involves living in alignment with our values, beliefs, and true selves, rather than conforming to the expectations or desires of others. In this chapter, we explore the importance of authenticity and practical steps for embracing it in our lives. Authenticity begins with self-awareness and self-acceptance. It requires a willingness to explore and understand our own values, desires, and motivations, as well as accepting ourselves fully, flaws and all. When we embrace authenticity, we let go of the need to seek approval or validation from others, and instead prioritize living in alignment with our own truth. One of the key aspects of embracing authenticity is learning to trust ourselves and our intuition. This involves tuning into our inner wisdom and listening to the voice of our intuition, rather than constantly seeking external guidance or validation. When we trust ourselves, we become more confident in our decisions and actions, and less reliant on the opinions or approval of others. Another important aspect of authenticity is expressing ourselves honestly and openly, even when it feels uncomfortable or vulnerable. This means speaking our truth, sharing our thoughts and feelings authentically, and being true to ourselves in our interactions with others. When we embrace authenticity in our communication, we foster deeper connections and more meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Embracing authenticity also requires setting boundaries and prioritizing our own needs and well-being. This means saying no when necessary and not overextending ourselves to please others. When we honor our own boundaries and prioritize self-care, we send a clear message to others that our needs matter and we deserve to be treated with respect and consideration. Practicing self-compassion is another essential aspect of embracing authenticity. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially when we make mistakes or face challenges. When we practice self-compassion, we cultivate a sense of inner worthiness and resilience that allows us to embrace our authenticity fully, without fear of judgment or rejection. Ultimately, embracing authenticity is a journey of self-discovery and self-expression. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to embrace our true selves, even when it feels risky or uncertain. When we embrace authenticity, we empower ourselves to live with greater integrity, purpose, and fulfillment, and inspire others to do the same. In summary, embracing authenticity is essential for breaking free from the patterns of women-pleasing behavior. It involves cultivating self-awareness, trusting our intuition, expressing ourselves honestly, setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, and practicing self-compassion. When we embrace authenticity, we reclaim our power, our voice, and our sense of self-worth, and live more fulfilling and empowered lives. Chapter 6: Cultivating Self-Worth. Cultivating self-worth is fundamental to breaking free from the pattern of women-pleasing behavior. In this chapter, we delve into the importance of self-worth and explore strategies for building and nurturing it. Self-worth is the intrinsic value and sense of worthiness that we attribute to ourselves. It forms the foundation of our self-esteem and shapes how we perceive and value ourselves in relation to others. For women who struggle with people-pleasing tendencies, cultivating a strong sense of self-worth is essential for breaking free from the cycle of seeking external validation and approval. One of the first steps in cultivating self-worth is challenging and reframing negative self-beliefs. Many women-pleasers harbor deep-seated beliefs of unworthiness or inadequacy, often stemming from past experiences or societal conditioning. By identifying and challenging these negative beliefs, we can begin to cultivate more positive and empowering self-perceptions. Practicing self-compassion is another powerful tool for cultivating self-worth. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, especially in moments of difficulty or failure. By embracing self-compassion, we learn to acknowledge our inherent worthiness and recognize that our value is not contingent upon external achievements or approval from others. Setting and achieving personal goals can also contribute to a sense of self-worth. When we set realistic and meaningful goals for ourselves and take steps to pursue them, we demonstrate to ourselves that we are capable, competent, and deserving of success. Celebrating our accomplishments, no matter how small, reinforces our belief in our own worthiness and capability. Cultivating self-worth also involves practicing self-care and prioritizing our own well-being. Engaging in activities that nourish and rejuvenate us, such as exercise, meditation, creative expression, or spending time in nature, sends a powerful message to ourselves that we are worthy of love, care, and attention. By prioritizing self-care, we reaffirm our own value and importance in our lives. Building supportive relationships can also bolster our sense of self-worth. Surrounding ourselves with people who affirm and uplift us and who value us for who we are reinforces our belief in our own worthiness and deservingness of love and respect. Conversely, distancing ourselves from toxic or unsupportive relationships allows us to create space for positive and affirming connections to flourish. Ultimately, cultivating self-worth is an ongoing process that requires commitment, self-awareness, and practice. By challenging negative self-beliefs, practicing self-compassion, setting and achieving personal goals, prioritizing self-care, and building supportive relationships, we can gradually strengthen our sense of self-worth and break free from the cycle of women-pleasing behavior. In doing so, we empower ourselves to live authentically, confidently, and unapologetically, and to cultivate lives of fulfillment, purpose, and joy. Chapter 7: Assertiveness Training. In this chapter, we explore the crucial role of assertiveness in overcoming women-pleasing tendencies and reclaiming our power and autonomy. Assertiveness is the ability to express our thoughts, feelings, needs, and boundaries in a clear, direct, and respectful manner. For women who struggle with people-pleasing behaviors, learning to be assertive is essential for setting healthy boundaries, advocating for our needs, and asserting our rights and desires in relationships and interactions. One of the first steps in assertiveness training is recognizing and challenging the underlying beliefs and fears that contribute to women-pleasing behavior. Many women pleasers fear conflict, rejection, or disapproval from others, leading them to prioritize the needs and desires of others over their own. By identifying and challenging these limiting beliefs, we can begin to shift our mindset and develop a more empowered and assertive approach to communication. Effective communication skills are central to assertiveness training. Learning to express ourselves assertively involves using I statements to communicate our thoughts, feelings, and needs, rather than resorting to passive or aggressive communication styles. Assertive communication is characterized by clarity, directness, and respect for both ourselves and others, allowing us to assert our boundaries and preferences without resorting to manipulation, aggression, or guilt-tripping. Setting and maintaining healthy boundaries is another key aspect of assertiveness training. Boundaries are essential for defining the limits of acceptable behavior in relationships and interactions, and for protecting our physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. Learning to set clear and firm boundaries, and to assertively communicate and enforce them, is essential for preventing resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion in women who struggle with people-pleasing tendencies. Practicing assertiveness in various contexts and situations is essential for building confidence and mastery in this skill. Role-playing exercises, assertiveness training workshops, and real-life practice opportunities can help women pleasers develop and refine their assertiveness skills in a supportive and non-judgmental environment. By gradually stepping outside of their comfort zones and experimenting with assertive communication techniques, women pleasers can build confidence and competence in expressing themselves assertively in a variety of situations. Developing self-confidence and self-esteem is also integral to assertiveness training. Assertive communication requires a strong sense of self-worth and self-assurance, as well as the belief that our thoughts, feelings, and needs are valid and deserving of respect. Engaging in self-care practices, cultivating supportive relationships, and celebrating our achievements and successes can help boost self-confidence and self-esteem, enabling women pleasers to assert themselves confidently and assertively in their interactions with others. Ultimately, assertiveness training is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. By challenging limiting beliefs, developing effective communication skills, setting and maintaining healthy boundaries, and building self-confidence and self-esteem, women pleasers can break free from the cycle of people-pleasing behavior and reclaim their power and autonomy in their relationships and interactions. In doing so, they can cultivate more authentic, fulfilling, and mutually satisfying connections with others and create lives of greater joy, fulfillment, and empowerment. Chapter 8: Embracing Self-Compassion. In this chapter, we delve into the importance of self-compassion in the journey to overcome women-pleasing tendencies and cultivate greater self-esteem and empowerment. Self-compassion is the practice of treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, especially in the face of failure, inadequacy, or suffering. For women who struggle with people-pleasing behaviors, cultivating self-compassion is essential for breaking free from self-criticism, perfectionism, and the relentless pursuit of external validation. One of the first steps in embracing self-compassion is acknowledging and accepting our humanity, including our flaws, mistakes, and imperfections. Women pleasers often hold themselves to impossibly high standards and harshly criticize themselves for any perceived shortcomings or failures. By recognizing that imperfection is a natural and inevitable part of the human experience, we can begin to extend compassion and understanding to ourselves in moments of difficulty or struggle. Practicing self-kindness is another key aspect of self-compassion. Instead of berating ourselves for our mistakes or shortcomings, we can choose to speak to ourselves with the same warmth, empathy, and encouragement that we would offer to a dear friend in a similar situation. Treating ourselves with kindness and gentleness helps to soothe our inner critic, alleviate feelings of shame or inadequacy, and foster a greater sense of self-worth and self-acceptance. Cultivating mindfulness is integral to the practice of self-compassion. Mindfulness involves paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations in the present moment without judgment or attachment. By bringing mindful awareness to our experiences, we can observe our thoughts and emotions with greater clarity and perspective and respond to them with compassion and self-care rather than self-criticism or avoidance. Forgiving ourselves for past mistakes and failures is essential for cultivating self-compassion. Women pleasers often carry deep-seated guilt or shame over past actions or decisions that they perceive as having disappointed or hurt others. By acknowledging our mistakes, taking responsibility for our actions, and offering ourselves forgiveness and understanding, we can release ourselves from the burden of guilt and self-blame and open ourselves up to greater self-compassion and healing. Practicing gratitude is a powerful way to nurture self-compassion and cultivate a more positive and resilient mindset. By focusing on the blessings, strengths, and opportunities in our lives, rather than dwelling on our perceived shortcomings or failures, we can shift our perspective from one of scarcity and self-criticism to one of abundance and self-acceptance. Cultivating a daily gratitude practice can help women pleasers develop greater resilience, optimism, and self-compassion in the face of life's challenges and setbacks. Ultimately, embracing self-compassion is a transformative practice that allows women pleasers to break free from the cycle of self-criticism, perfectionism, and people-pleasing behavior and embrace themselves with greater kindness, acceptance, and understanding. By cultivating self-compassion, women pleasers can nurture a deeper sense of self-worth and self-esteem and cultivate more authentic, fulfilling, and compassionate relationships with themselves and others. Chapter 9: Setting Boundaries and Asserting Your Needs. In this pivotal chapter, we explore the importance of setting boundaries and assertively communicating your needs as a means to break free from women-pleasing behaviors and reclaim your personal power and autonomy. For many women who struggle with people-pleasing tendencies, setting boundaries can be a daunting and unfamiliar concept. However, learning to establish healthy boundaries is essential for cultivating self-respect, preserving your energy and well-being, and fostering more authentic and fulfilling relationships. Setting boundaries involves clearly defining your limits, preferences, and expectations in various areas of your life, such as work, relationships, and personal space. It means identifying what behaviors, actions, or interactions are acceptable to you and communicating them assertively and respectfully to others. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is becoming attuned to your own needs, feelings, and limitations. Women pleasers often prioritize the needs and desires of others over their own, leading to feelings of resentment, exhaustion, and burnout. By tuning into your own inner wisdom and listening to your instincts and emotions, you can gain clarity about your personal boundaries and what is and isn't acceptable to you. Communicating boundaries effectively requires clarity, assertiveness, and consistency. It involves clearly expressing your limits and expectations to others in a direct and respectful manner, without apologizing or seeking permission. Setting boundaries may feel uncomfortable or anxiety-provoking at first, especially for women who are accustomed to putting others' needs ahead of their own, but with practice, it becomes easier and more empowering. It's important to remember that boundaries are not about controlling or manipulating others, but rather about taking responsibility for your own well-being and self-respect. By setting and enforcing boundaries, you send a clear message to others about how you expect to be treated and create space for healthier, more balanced, and more authentic relationships. Assertively asserting your needs and desires is another essential aspect of breaking free from women-pleasing behaviors. Assertiveness involves expressing yourself confidently, respectfully, and directly, without aggression or passive-aggressiveness. It means speaking up for yourself, advocating for your interests, and asserting your rights and boundaries in various situations. Learning to be assertive requires practice and self-awareness. It involves recognizing your own worth and inherent value as a person and standing up for yourself in the face of challenges or pushback from others. Assertiveness allows you to communicate your needs, preferences, and boundaries with clarity and confidence, and assert your right to be treated with respect and dignity. Practicing self-care is essential for maintaining healthy boundaries and assertively asserting your needs. Self-care involves prioritizing your physical, emotional, and mental well-being and taking deliberate actions to nurture and replenish yourself on a regular basis. By practicing self-care, you replenish your energy reserves, boost your resilience and self-esteem, and strengthen your ability to set and maintain boundaries in all areas of your life. Ultimately, setting boundaries and assertively asserting your needs are powerful tools for breaking free from women-pleasing behaviors and reclaiming your personal power and autonomy. By honoring your own needs, preferences, and limitations, and communicating them assertively and respectfully to others, you create space for healthier, more authentic, and more fulfilling relationships, both with yourself and with others. Chapter 10: Embracing Self-Worth and Authenticity. In this transformative chapter, we delve into the importance of embracing self-worth and authenticity as key steps in overcoming women-pleasing tendencies and living a more empowered and fulfilling life. For many women who struggle with people-pleasing behaviors, their sense of self-worth is often tied to external validation and approval from others. They may believe that their worthiness as individuals depends on their ability to meet the needs and expectations of those around them, leading to a perpetual cycle of seeking validation from others. However, true self-worth is not contingent on external factors or the opinions of others. It is an inherent and unchangeable aspect of our being, rooted in our intrinsic value as human beings. Embracing self-worth means recognizing and honoring our own inherent value, regardless of external circumstances or others' opinions. One of the first steps in cultivating self-worth is practicing self-compassion and self-acceptance. This involves treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and forgiveness, especially in moments of self-doubt or self-criticism. By embracing our imperfections and acknowledging our inherent worthiness, we can begin to cultivate a deeper sense of self-compassion and acceptance. Another essential aspect of embracing self-worth is learning to validate and affirm ourselves from within. Rather than seeking validation and approval from others, we can learn to recognize and celebrate our own accomplishments, strengths, and unique qualities. By acknowledging our own worthiness and deservingness, we can begin to break free from the need for external validation and approval. Authenticity is closely linked to self-worth and involves living in alignment with our true selves and values. Women pleasers often struggle to express their authentic selves and may suppress their true thoughts, feelings, and desires in order to avoid conflict or gain approval from others. However, living authentically means honoring our own truth and expressing ourselves honestly and openly, even if it means risking disapproval or rejection from others. Embracing authenticity requires courage, vulnerability, and self-awareness. It involves letting go of the need to please others or conform to societal expectations, and instead embracing our unique identity and individuality. By embracing authenticity, we can cultivate deeper connections with ourselves and others, and live more meaningful and fulfilling lives. Practicing self-expression is a powerful way to cultivate authenticity and honor our true selves. This involves expressing ourselves creatively, whether through art, writing, music, or other forms of self-expression. By tapping into our creative impulses and expressing ourselves authentically, we can deepen our self-awareness, connect with our innermost thoughts and feelings, and cultivate a greater sense of authenticity and self-worth. Ultimately, embracing self-worth and authenticity are essential steps in overcoming women-pleasing tendencies and reclaiming our personal power and autonomy. By recognizing and honoring our own inherent worthiness and living authentically in alignment with our true selves and values, we can break free from the need for external validation and approval and live more empowered and fulfilling lives. Chapter 11: Setting Boundaries and Prioritizing Self-Care. In this pivotal chapter, we explore the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing self-care as essential practices for women seeking to break free from people-pleasing tendencies and reclaim their autonomy and well-being. For many women who struggle with people-pleasing behaviors, setting boundaries can be challenging. They may fear conflict or rejection and worry about upsetting or disappointing others. As a result, they may find themselves saying yes to requests and obligations that drain their time, energy, and resources, leaving little room for their own needs and priorities. However, setting healthy boundaries is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and protecting our own well-being. Boundaries are the limits we set for ourselves in terms of what we are willing to accept and tolerate in our interactions with others. They are a crucial aspect of self-care and self-respect and are necessary for maintaining our physical, emotional, and psychological health. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is identifying our own needs, values, and limits. This involves taking the time to reflect on what is important to us and what we need in order to feel safe, respected, and fulfilled in our relationships and interactions with others. By understanding our own needs and values, we can begin to establish clear and healthy boundaries that honor and protect our well-being. Communicating boundaries effectively is another key aspect of setting healthy boundaries. It involves clearly and assertively expressing our needs, limits, and expectations to others in a respectful and compassionate manner. This may involve saying no to requests or obligations that do not align with our priorities or values, or setting limits on the amount of time and energy we are willing to invest in certain relationships or activities. Setting boundaries also requires consistency and self-advocacy. It means honoring our boundaries and standing firm in our decisions, even in the face of resistance or pushback from others. This may require practicing assertiveness skills and learning to advocate for ourselves and our needs with confidence and conviction. Prioritizing self-care is closely intertwined with setting boundaries and involves taking intentional steps to nurture our physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. Self-care looks different for everyone and may include activities such as exercise, meditation, journaling, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in hobbies and interests that bring us joy and fulfillment. Making self-care a priority is not selfish or indulgent. It is essential for maintaining our health and well-being, and for showing up as our best selves in our relationships and responsibilities. By prioritizing self-care, we can replenish our energy, reduce stress and burnout, and cultivate a greater sense of balance, resilience, and vitality in our lives. In summary, setting boundaries and prioritizing self-care are essential practices for women seeking to break free from people-pleasing tendencies and reclaim their autonomy and well-being. By establishing clear and healthy boundaries, communicating our needs and expectations assertively, and prioritizing self-care, we can honor our own needs and values, protect our well-being, and cultivate healthier and more fulfilling relationships with ourselves and others. Chapter 12: Embracing Authenticity and Self-Expression. In this chapter, we delve into the importance of embracing authenticity and self-expression as fundamental components of breaking free from the pattern of women-pleasing behavior. For many women, the pressure to conform to societal expectations and meet the perceived needs and desires of others can lead to a stifling of their true selves and a suppression of their authentic thoughts, feelings, and desires. This can result in feelings of disconnection, dissatisfaction, and a lack of fulfillment in both personal and professional spheres. Embracing authenticity involves honoring and expressing our true selves without fear of judgment, rejection, or criticism from others. It means allowing ourselves to be seen and heard as we truly are, with all of our strengths, vulnerabilities, quirks, and imperfections. Authenticity is about living in alignment with our values, beliefs, and passions, and being true to ourselves in all aspects of our lives. One of the first steps in embracing authenticity is reconnecting with our inner selves and cultivating self-awareness. This involves taking the time to explore our thoughts, feelings, and desires, and gaining insight into what truly matters to us and brings us joy and fulfillment. By tuning into our inner wisdom and intuition, we can begin to discern our authentic voice and express ourselves more authentically in our interactions and relationships with others. Self-expression is a powerful tool for cultivating authenticity and reclaiming our voice and agency. It involves expressing ourselves creatively and authentically through various mediums, such as art, writing, music, dance, or other forms of self-expression. Self-expression allows us to communicate our thoughts, feelings, and experiences in meaningful and authentic ways, and can serve as a catalyst for personal growth, healing, and transformation. However, embracing authenticity and self-expression requires courage and vulnerability. It means stepping out of our comfort zones, confronting our fears and insecurities, and risking rejection or judgment from others. It may involve challenging societal norms and expectations, and embracing our uniqueness and individuality, even if it means standing out or being different from others. But the rewards of embracing authenticity and self-expression are profound. When we allow ourselves to be authentic and true to ourselves, we experience a greater sense of freedom, fulfillment, and empowerment. We attract genuine connections and relationships with others who accept and appreciate us for who we are, rather than who we think we should be. And we create a life that is rich, meaningful, and aligned with our deepest values and aspirations. In summary, embracing authenticity and self-expression is essential for breaking free from women-pleasing behavior and reclaiming our true selves and voices. By honoring our authenticity, cultivating self-awareness, and expressing ourselves authentically in all aspects of our lives, we can live with greater freedom, fulfillment, and authenticity, and create deeper connections and relationships with ourselves and others. Chapter 14. Cultivating self-compassion and self-acceptance. In this chapter, we delve into the importance of cultivating self-compassion and self-acceptance as key components of overcoming women-pleasing tendencies. For many women who struggle with women-pleasing behavior, there is often a deep-seated belief that their worth and value are contingent upon their ability to meet the needs and expectations of others. This belief can lead to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and a constant striving for external validation and approval. Cultivating self-compassion involves extending kindness, understanding, and empathy toward ourselves, especially in moments of struggle, failure, or self-criticism. It means treating ourselves with the same warmth and care that we would offer to a close friend or loved one who is experiencing difficulty or suffering. Self-compassion involves recognizing and acknowledging our own humanity, imperfections, and vulnerabilities, and responding to ourselves with gentleness and compassion rather than harshness or self-judgment. Practicing self-compassion involves three key components, as outlined by researcher and psychologist Kristen Neff: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness involves being warm, supportive, and understanding toward ourselves, especially when we are experiencing pain or difficulty. Common humanity involves recognizing that suffering and imperfection are universal experiences shared by all human beings, and that we are not alone in our struggles. Mindfulness involves being present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment or attachment, and cultivating a sense of curiosity and openness toward our inner experiences. Self-acceptance is closely related to self-compassion and involves embracing and honoring all aspects of ourselves, including our strengths, weaknesses, quirks, and imperfections. It means recognizing that we are worthy and deserving of love and acceptance exactly as we are, without needing to meet impossible standards of perfection or conform to others' expectations. Self-acceptance involves letting go of the need for external validation and approval, and finding validation and approval from within ourselves. Cultivating self-compassion and self-acceptance can be challenging, especially for women who have spent years prioritizing the needs and expectations of others over their own. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained patterns of thinking and behavior. However, the benefits of self-compassion and self-acceptance are profound, leading to greater resilience, emotional well-being, and a deeper sense of self-worth and fulfillment. In summary, cultivating self-compassion and self-acceptance are essential practices for overcoming women-pleasing tendencies and reclaiming our sense of self-worth and autonomy. By extending kindness, understanding, and acceptance toward ourselves, and by embracing all aspects of who we are with love and compassion, we can break free from the cycle of self-doubt and insecurity and step into our power and authenticity as women. Chapter 15: Embracing Authenticity and Setting Boundaries. In this final chapter, we explore the importance of embracing authenticity and setting boundaries as crucial steps in breaking free from women-pleasing behavior. Authenticity is about being true to ourselves, honoring our values, beliefs, and desires, and expressing who we truly are without fear of judgment or rejection. For women who struggle with women-pleasing tendencies, authenticity can feel elusive, as they may have spent years prioritizing the needs and expectations of others over their own. However, embracing authenticity is essential for living a fulfilling and meaningful life. Embracing authenticity begins with self-awareness and self-reflection. It involves taking the time to explore our values, passions, and interests, and identifying the ways in which we may have been suppressing or denying aspects of ourselves in order to please others. It also involves embracing our imperfections and vulnerabilities, and being willing to show up as our true selves, even when it feels uncomfortable or challenging. Setting boundaries is another crucial aspect of breaking free from women-pleasing behavior. Boundaries are the limits and guidelines that we set for ourselves in order to protect our physical, emotional, and mental well-being, and to honor our needs and values. For women who struggle with women-pleasing tendencies, setting boundaries can be especially challenging, as they may fear conflict, rejection, or disapproval from others. However, setting boundaries is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and asserting our autonomy and self-respect. It involves clearly communicating our needs, preferences, and limits to others, and being willing to enforce those boundaries, even if it means risking conflict or discomfort. Setting boundaries also requires us to prioritize our own well-being and self-care, and to recognize that it is not selfish or unkind to say no to others when necessary. Embracing authenticity and setting boundaries go hand in hand, as they both involve honoring and respecting ourselves and our own needs and values. By embracing authenticity, we give ourselves permission to show up as our true selves, unapologetically and authentically, and to live in alignment with our deepest desires and aspirations. By setting boundaries, we protect ourselves from being taken advantage of or mistreated by others, and we create space for healthy and fulfilling relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. In conclusion, embracing authenticity and setting boundaries are essential practices for breaking free from women-pleasing behavior and reclaiming our sense of self-worth and autonomy. By embracing who we truly are and setting clear and healthy boundaries with others, we empower ourselves to live authentically and to create the life and relationships that we truly desire. In the end, breaking free from women-pleasing behavior is a journey of self-discovery, self-empowerment, and self-love. It requires courage, resilience, and a willingness to embrace change and growth. But with dedication, perseverance, and support, it is possible to liberate ourselves from the chains of people-pleasing and to step into our power as strong, confident, and authentic women. Remember, you are worthy of love, respect, and acceptance just as you are. You deserve to live a life that is true to yourself, filled with joy, fulfillment, and purpose. So, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and trust in your own strength and resilience. You have the power to rewrite your story and to create a life that honors and celebrates the beautiful, courageous, and authentic woman that you are. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and self-liberation, know that you are not alone. There is a community of women who have walked this path before you, who understand your struggles and your triumphs, and who are here to support and uplift you every step of the way. Together, we can break free from the chains of women-pleasing and create a world where all women are empowered to live authentically, boldly, and unapologetically. So, go forth with courage and confidence, knowing that you are capable of creating the life and the relationships that you truly desire. Embrace your authenticity, set healthy boundaries, and trust in your own worth and value. The world needs your unique gifts, talents, and perspectives, and you have the power to make a difference in the lives of others and in the world around you. With love, courage, and empowerment,